Welcome back to Mr. What Presents. Today, a show like I love them. We're actually promoting a real live performance that is happening within 10 days here in San Francisco with Allison Lovejoy and Maestro Urs in the house, who will be conducting this piece at the majestic Herbst Theater.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful venue. We'll also talk about some other elements of programming that will happen on that day. Let's start with the very basics of what this show is about and where is it coming from in terms of, rewrites and the origins of the show, Allison.
Okay. The Seven Deadly Pleasures is a sophisticated and satirical view of the seven deadly sins, the traditional seven deadly sins: lust, gluttony, rage, pride, envy, vanity.
That's a lot of them. Anyway.
That's a lot of them. The Seven Deadly Pleasures started out as a song cycle, a cabaret rock opera. My composer friend, Jeff Ball, who's a singer, is the rock and roll side, and I'm more of the cabaret and classical side. And we thought what we would do is create a song for each of those archetypes, but within an American context. We wanted to make fun and play with the American style of gluttony, of pride, and we've developed those quite well here in the United States.
Very current topic.
Right, and this we started developing over 10 years ago.
And this is versus, I imagine, the old Dante Alighieri version. That's what you're bringing into the contemporary world.
Exactly.
You're referring back and forth to the old Italian medieval tradition, correct?
Exactly. I've studied the writings of Sir Thomas Aquinas, of Dante, of different officials of the Catholic Church, and also some modern takes of the seven deadly sins, including Kurt Weill's, and he's a great influence of mine musically. But this has a great combination of all of the things America has. For better or worse, it has the jazziness and the audacity, and it also has a lot of what I would say is the variety, a great mixture of different things musically. But what we're really looking at is our struggle as humans to fight those urges which are not necessarily good for any of us and are the opposite of love.
But we love them.
But we love them, and we're human. So the show really is not about judgment. It's really about exposing what's truly a part of our human nature and understanding that we're always contending with those things and that we have to balance them.
Yeah. I followed your process of that show for the whole 10 years. I remember you starting, I went to some shows in the early times and later on, and actually that was turned me on to ask you to collaborate with me, because I thought this would be a really current and interesting thing to present to the public. And go and tell people what's, particularly local composer, really good music. The music is fabulous. The orchestra loves it. Chorus loves it.
And the collaboration between the two of you is this is a premiere, right?
That's correct.
This version.
Not in the sense of collaborating. We have collaborated tours to Europe. We have done concertis together. But in terms of your work, yes, that's the... I suggested, okay, let's do this with the forces we have with orchestra and chorus, and make it. You then said you're going to make a suite out of it,
yes,
which you're doing, and I think everybody's very excited to actually perform it.
And the collaborations we've had have been mostly classical and wonderful. We've performed a lot.
Well, we just recently performed Beethoven Fifth Piano Concerto just in November, so
that's right.
we've been doing stuff together.
But the piece that we last did was a theater presentation of the Seven Deadly Pleasures with a full-on cast, costuming, and a pit band, and stage direction at ACT's costume shop. We had a grant to do a production there, a residency, and we've also created a cabaret version of it for the SF International Arts Festival. And now this orchestral suite, which Urs inspired and suggested, is arranged by Greg Stevens, who's one of our musicians who's played
One of your fabulous musicians.
incredible trombonist and arranger. He and I decided that we were going to make it into a suite, and opening up for the Carmina Burana is a perfect choice. The more I think about it, it's really great, and it's an honor to be able to do this. But and a lot of pressure, but it is really a perfect choice because the Carmina Burana explores all the same ideas.
All
in a different
very
way.
same ideas, actually.
And
Yeah.
here we're pulling up the program so people can actually visit that page up here and purchase tickets for the Herbst. So
Yeah, we're
I'm sure-
doing that on May 18th at 7 p.m. Herbst Theater. Tickets available at City Box Office.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be close to a sellout, so get on the phone and get them soon.
Right. So you have developed this show in 2014, right? And then so that was the very first version. And this year, what makes it the premiere? Is it the collaboration? Is it your leader or your direction, or what has changed since 2014?
It's the format of the piece, it being condensed into a suite with a full orchestra and choir, whereas it's normally been performed by a chamber jazz ensemble with piano, me at the piano, trombone, violin, saxophone, and drums. And my great band, Randy O'Dell and Greg Stevens and some of the other members are still performing in this suite, but we have the added string section,
Right.
trombones, brass, woodwinds, and
Percussion.
a choir, percussion.
Right.
So it gives it a different type of weight, and it also is a combination of the orchestra and a jazz ensemble,
Right,
which
right.
is a first for us, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
for
think
me.
that's actually what turns me on to it, because I love to add to the repertoire of sort of pops concerts. I think there's not much around of new work in that sense. When we do pops concerts with something a little what they call crossover and all that, I think this one is going to be successful with that. I think it's a good idea. I think the American orchestra needs it, not only for us but in general, because it gives this picture, and it shows Americana. It shows Americana musically, and the story, and what you're bringing to the table, what your collaborators bring to the table, the way they perform it. Wonderful performers. I think yesterday we had a big dress rehearsal for next week, and everybody was in love with your singers, and it is very much a worthwhile project, and I think it's going to go places, actually.
And the scope of it on this Herbst stage is how many musicians and which sections are involved?
Well, the Carmina has a huge force. Carmina is about 200 people.
Whoa. That's big. So we're
yeah.
talking big in
So,
scope.
in terms of her work, it's reduced a little bit to about 120, which is still large. And of course, we use the ensemble, your original ensemble, and then add the strings and the percussion and the woodwinds and the brass.
Right. I have a jazz combo of 5 people,
Right.
and I have 7 singers. And,
Right. And the chorus accompanies some of the singers, or the songs, of course. And yeah, it's a large situation. It's good.
It is, and that's it. The form is also condensed into a half an hour suite, similar to the Mahogany Suite by Kurt Weill or the West Side Story Suite.
Yeah.
But this includes some of the main feature songs as well as medleys, and making those choices is difficult because you want to maintain some sort of narrative,
Right.
and you want people to understand what's going on, but you really want to give them the best material and have an organic flow to the music.
Right.
So,
And this is a very different format than the cabaret
Correct.
style that you had earlier. Let's watch a minute of that
Okay, and that's-
archive from
Okay,
2014
great.
and compare a little bit the styles.
What a day! It's hard making your feet all day, especially in shoes like these. So I decided, what the heck?
I beg your forgiveness. I've made a big mess. You know I'll make it up to you. Keep
This
your
is the
lips
father,
tight.
Frank Dante. He's the epitome of pride and rage.
Just to clarify, so is there acting involved in this show or strictly music?
In that show, in that performance, and the last one, there's acting as well as
But
singing.
I mean, in the Herbst show
In the
coming
Herbst
up
show.
on the 18th of May.
Mostly singing with some acting to
They
embellish.
obviously
Yeah.
will be telling the story.
They will.
So
They're still playing the characters of the Dante family. Frank Dante, who is wealthy, vain, and fancies himself to be incredibly bright, may sound familiar to you, has a trophy wife named Sophia, and they have a son who detests them, who you just saw fighting with each other.
Yep.
And the devil sort of it makes everyone access much more easily their sins. So you have these characters, and you'll see how they play with each other in the songs. However, they only have recitative because we wanted it to be all music and no dialogue.
I see. And those songs are all written, composed by yourself.
All of them except for 3 or 4 of the songs are composed by Jeff Ball, my collaborator. And he composed more of the rock and roll style songs. He's a witty and brilliant writer and performer who's known for his performances in Bowie tribute bands. But we started developing this over 10 years ago, and I've finished most of the music and the overture and all of the other material.
I see. And Urs, what have you been doing outside of this collaboration? Have you been touring lately, or mostly resident in San
no,
Francisco?
I've been here. You know, our orchestra has shows all the time. We just did Tchaikovsky 5 like a month ago, and the big Beethoven program in November, and Messiah in December, and preparing. I'm here most of the time. Probably 3-4 months of the year I'm more in Europe, but this is my place. And the orchestra, the chorus is getting stronger and stronger. We have about 180 members or so between orchestra and chorus. I just started a new chorus in Benicia. I'm branching out into the other places in the Bay Area because the traffic is so terrible.
Right.
So
that makes
people
sense.
can't come in anymore.
You have
Right.
So I'm going to them, and so
Yes, that's smart.
the Carmina is going to be done on Sunday at 4 p.m. at the clock tower in Benicia,
Gotcha.
and and then of course on Monday we perform in the Mission again, and that's at the Southern Pacific Brewery, which is right down the street from here, which we bring our orchestra chorus twice a year, sort of an outreach idea, and beer and food and
And the same segments of Carmina Burana as will be
yes,
presented
and actually
at
we're
the
going to
Herbst?
perform some of Allison's work too in that show. That's free. You can come in and check it out. It's great. So we are very busy making sure that classical music is accessible to people. We probably give about 2,000 tickets away every year to all kinds of different communities. I go on TV shows in the Latin community, Chinese community, and Asian, African American. So I bring in a lot of people into the audience, which
Right.
you normally wouldn't see.
And I was reading that you even have such social service in Guatemala. Is that right?
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
Yeah. We've done run music schools down there. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And that is current. You go there. every
Yeah,
now and
we
then and
well, I
help.
don't have to do that much anymore. I did it for about almost 30 years, but the kids who used to be kids are now adults.
And
So
helping
what I
the-
do mostly is make sure that the money comes in.
Gotcha. Well, that's an
For
important
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Right. We share that philosophy of bringing people together through music. And Urs is beloved by the community in the neighborhood. He knows so many people. You know more people than I do, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. But he's been working at bringing people together and making them feel welcome And I think that's a really special part of the Golden Gate, the choir and the orchestra, and their audiences. They feel welcome. They feel like they're a part of something, and it removes that exclusivity that classical music sometimes.
Right.
Well, to me, classical music is exclusive as music. But as people, we don't have to be exclusive. We can be inclusive.
That's a good way
And
to
we have to be inclusive.
Yeah.
Just want to point out that, we did Carmina in Managua. And you
Nicaragua.
played, what did you play down there?
Beethoven Emperor. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was about 10 years ago or so. And I brought.
Granada.
Yes.
In
Well,
Nicaragua.
we did a tour of Nicaragua. When we were the first orchestra ever to perform Carmina in Central America.
Right. And what was really incredible about it was that he got all of the children from the barrios
Yes.
in the choirs
Yeah.
to join in and play in these incredible concert halls where they would have never entered.
No.
And they're
And these, actually, I started that project 5 years before.
That's correct.
It took me about 5 years
Yeah.
to plan it and get all the kids involved and stuff
But
like that.
That reminds me of what you do with the pianos here in San Francisco,
That's
where
right.
you will play on top of the hill. Bernal last weekend.
Yes.
You play in the Conservatory of Flowers. So tell
And-
us a little bit about how that feels and the interactions that you encounter in those situations.
I have been playing as a classical pianist in different situations because I like to remove the walls or the limitations of audience and performer. And I feel that in our culture now we need to have more sharing of music, more belonging. And the Flower Piano Festival, which is on its 5th year this summer, has been organized by my friends Dean Mermel and Mauro Fortissimo. And I'm one of their main pianists, and there are so many wonderful pianists who come and play 12 pianos for 2 weekends in a row in the Botanical Gardens of Golden Gate Park. And it's an incredible event. You've been there, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
And they have an orchestra at
And there's
times.
a film there. I've also
There's-
projected that film for Dean once. A beautiful film about their adventure with those 12 pianos all
It's
over.
called 12 Pianos, and it all started with playing pianos for the whales on the coast of San Mateo with Mauro. It has, however, become a movement, and it's about free music that includes everyone, and pianists come out from everywhere and play in between the concerts that are scheduled and the weekends, the 2 weekends in July. There are people who come out and they play their favorite song or medley, or it just brings people together in music. And it's free. You can bring your picnic and you can hear some Chopin. I'm playing a Chopin concerto on July 14th or July 13th with the awesome orchestra. And then the next weekend we're doing a marathon piano concert, and then there's Night Garden piano. And the Classical Revolution sometimes joins me, and
The Classical Revolution is a movement or is a group that just produces those events?
It's both. One of my friends, Cherith, started the Classical Revolution in order to bring music, live chamber music, to people in cafes and bars and
all over the
streets.
United
all over the
States.
States. And now they
Yeah.
have chapters all through the States and in Europe.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of other concerts, and we sort of help each other. We're all part
Yeah.
of this larger group. It's really something that this movement of putting pianos out in public has become an international,
Right.
an international
To
thing.
come back to our show,
Yes.
we have a couple more minutes to go. You guys just rehearsed, I'm sure, or at least recently, if not today. Which number came across, just so we have some concrete to latch on to, which sin came up today, or which pleasure?
Well, I think, the tenor.
The tenor, the most favored angel.
Yeah.
The devil's sin is pride. And the main character, Frank Dante, is really the worst of all the characters. Everyone wants to shoot him. But the devil himself urges him on. He really pushes him. But pride is the worst because one can commit any crime and never feel that they needed to admit it. But the devil breaks down and discovers that he's actually been left out of everything. He's alone because his pride is so great. And the song is called The Most Favored Angel. And the other song is I Did It, which is what you heard in the segment and the video.
Yes, and also heard it as a standalone song. We won't have time to play it today, but
right.
think it's about time to wrap up. Any scene that comes up to your mind, or a scene that you enjoy particularly representing within this show?
Well, in my total show, or in her
this,
piece.
in the Seven Deadly Pleasures.
Well, to me, what's really important is that we're presenting and promoting Allison's fantastic piece. That was to me, my motivation is to put it out there to the public, to people who have never seen it, and hope we will go beyond what's happening.
Okay.
And the music, it's fantastic. It's always so great. But really, truly, what I want is that your talent needs to be out there in the Bay Area and beyond in terms of the classical music world, because it's a great combination of musical styles which an orchestra can support.
Very good.
Thank you.
And this is on May the 18th at the Herbst Theater in San Francisco. Get your tickets on the usual sites.
Yeah,
and,
7 p.m.
Come support great music and creative blend of cabaret and classical in San Francisco. We will see you there. And thank you very much for coming. And
Thanks for
Thank you,
having
guys.
we'll
us.
see you on
Thanks for having
stage.
us.
Great.
Thank you.
Apparelled in celestial light, choirs of angels knew no night. I was there, I wanted it all. So the beginning of the fall. I was cast down from heaven above. I have no friends, I have no love. You made me to hide your shame. Everybody needs someone to blame. Before I was banned from paradise, I had my eye on Eve. I gave her free advice while slinking around the Garden of Eden. Introduced her to knowledge and the fruit forbidden. I roamed the earth for thousands of years, rejoiced at suffering, I laugh at tears. Invented fire, discovered pain. I'm the voice that plagues the minds of the insane. I did it, proud to admit it. I have no love, I have no friends. You need me, your sins feed me. If I could, I would do it again. I'd do it again. I'd do it again. Do it again and again and again. Well, I'm extremely clever, terribly wise. Politicians know me 'cause I'm the father of lies. I'm awfully lonely though, oh the ennui. So I'm thinking about starting World War III. I take candy from babies, make them cry. The reason the innocent have to die. The devastation you won't see. That's why you invented me. I did it, proud to admit it. I have no love, I have no friends. You need me, your sins feed me. If I could, I would do it again. I'd do it again. party ends. When the party ends. I do it again. I do it again and again and again and again. Again and again and again and again. Again and again and again and again. I do it by a zwada down. Swabba dia zaga down. To the bay. I said I do.